for Talk to Me Tuesday on Tuesday, December 8th. I had a very productive, busy weekend, as I'm sure you would expect, after getting my new Moxie all installed and up and running. Got a checklist that goes with my warranty from the dealer. What are all the parts of the machine, the main parts, how do you change the needle, how do you oil, how do you load a quilt, how do you raise the frame up and down, how do you, do all the things. And so I went through that one by one, got through all of them that I hadn't done yet. Other than that, I also realized very quickly after I started testing the machine that my curtains hanging down behind the frame was going to be a problem. I folded it to where one side was 7 inches shorter than the other side, and then I just stitched it along that. By doing it along the width like that, and just using a single sheet going across instead of having panels of curtains, I made it to where there were no raw edges that I needed to finish. So it was just, like I said, quick and dirty curtains. Came out perfectly, and now it's not getting caught on my power cord. So that was one of the issues I was having. The other issue was, because I do float my quilts most of the time, I prefer doing that, but that also means that if it's longer than just a baby quilt, or at the beginning of the quilt, the batting and the rest of the quilt top can be like, pooling on the floor, and you might accidentally step on it or anything like that. Handi Quilter makes something called a handi hammock that they sell for that. But I looked at it and I was like, I have that other sheet. So I basically cut 24 inches, either 20 or 24 inches off the bungee, the side bungees from the frame, because they're way longer than they will ever need to be. I cut 24 inches off each one, and I made a casing at, I folded one end. This time I did it lengthwise. I folded one end of the sheet over, the one that just had a selvage edge. Folded it over and made a casing at that end. And then at the other end, the wide hem is there and it's already open. So it has a built-in casing basically at that end. And I ran the bungee through that, super easy. I melted the ends of the bungee just to keep it from fraying before I did that. And then I, just with a lighter. And then I ran the bungee through the casing, tied a knot. There are screw holes that are not being used because of the way I have the frame set up. And there are screws left over that were extra that came with the frame. So I used those in the screw holes and then just loop, and hammock. And I'll insert a picture of the finished hammock and of the curtains, I guess, so you can see the whole window at the end of the video. And so I did all that before I started quilting this weekend. Went through my checklist, got everything done so I could send the warranty over to my dealer this week. And I loaded my first quilt. So I did, I went through all my Linus quilts. I had already pulled backs for a number of them, and so I went through them and pulled this one out. You guys might remember this as these were donated panel pieces to Project Linus. This one here and this one here, the cats and the Dresden plate designs, they're all pre-printed. It's just a panel. But the cats and these designs here, they were from like tote bag kits for making a quilted tote bag. And somebody had donated those panels that had been cut up, and I just trimmed them all the same size. And then the bunnies were actually a panel left over in a panel that was to make a cozy for a toaster. And So I cut them as wide as I could get them, but not have any of the outside toaster shape, you know, to where it just looked like a block. And then this fabric was in the same donation, the kitty fabric, and I just pieced it all to the same width and made a long strip there and made a top. And the back was also donated fabric. It was some patriotic. It's like a cream with navy blue stars. And I used a very pale pink thread in the needle and bobbin, and I don't think you can even tell it's pink because it's just so pale. But it worked really well. I thought it showed up nicely without being like way too contrasting on the dark colors. And I'm very happy. I did a giant meander, which was something that I've always loved, that Jennifer O does on a lot of her Linus quilts. It's very zen, but I could never get a really large meander to work very well with my shorter throat machine. But now that I've got 11 inches of quilting space, I could do it a full 11-inch block without having to adjust the quilt at all. I can do nice big fat meanders, which you can kind of see when I hold it up. So that needs to be bound, labeled, and washed. And I did all of that on Saturday, and so Sunday I ended up being a total couch potato because I was kind of exhausted. But that's okay. Now I'm ready. I'm raring to go. I'm ready to load my next quilt on. I'm just trying to decide which one's going to be next. And things are good. Things are good. I look forward to watching all your videos, and I will see you next week with at least one more quilt finished. Bye!